about to leave. Already packing, come with me. I'm not.
Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy for Now. It's Isabel here with my October reading wrap up. So I'm going to talk about all the books I read this month. I will talk about everything I read since my mid-month update. So if you want details on those books, I'll mention them. You can go back and check out that video if you're interested, but to keep things short and concise, 2 videos because that's just how we roll. So let's talk about stats. First things first. So I read 24 books in the month of October for a total of 3,867 pages. My average rating was a 4.13. I read 8 titles from KU. I read 8 books from my library. And then the age group breakdown would be 19 adult books and 5 YA. And then our format breakdown is 15 ebooks, 4 audiobooks, 5 mangas, and then we have 6 new to me authors and 1 debut. First things first, I did DNF 2 books this month, and those DNFs I talked about in my mid-month wrap-up, and they were 7 Sins of Snow by Loxley Savage and Black Sunshine by Karina Holly. Yeah, you can go watch that mid-month and I will talk about it more in depth, but we are not going to let books drag us down the rest of the year, and we are going to DNF faster. I did not have any 1, 2, or 2.5 star reads, which is pretty normal for me. I would say I very rarely will hate read a book these days. It has to be for a themed vlog. And then for my 3 stars, we only have 1 3-star this month, and that was Break Volume 1 by Lucy Smoke. So I really loved the first story in this volume. This is a bind up of 2 books. And the first one is called Study Break, and it's about a girl and she gets locked in the library during a big snowstorm with a bunch of boys. And it was really fun. I really liked that one. And then I read the second book in the series and I hated it. And I wish I had DNF'd it. It had weird microaggressions and I just was not here for it. It had like the mean girl thing. It was so not like other girlsy that I just was out. I wish I had stopped at book 1 and not continued. So yeah, that brought it down to a 3. I would say book 1 was like a 4 and then book 2 was like a 2. So that's how we ended up at a 3-star. Then for my 3.5s, we have Witch Please by Anna Guire. I talked about that in my mid-month. Then we have Pumpkin Pounder by, oh no, what is her name? I didn't write it down and I forgot. By Laura Lovely. I should remember her name. That's a very unique pen name. This I read for my 24-hour reading weird Halloween romances video that I do like every year now. This is my 2nd year doing it, so I feel like it's gonna be an annual thing. And I gave it 3.5 stars because I liked it. It was a little too heavy on the puns. It is literally about a girl that goes around and bangs redheads every Halloween. And then it's her coming back around to find the guy that she like kind of fell in love with the last Halloween they went on. Like it was a really cute date, really cute situation. Overall a fun time, but not as fun as I wanted it to be, if that makes sense. The puns were like too much. I like a good joke, I like a good pun, it was too many. I was very tired of them by the end. Then I read Headless by Evita Weiss, which is her Headless Horseman short. This is just like an erotic short. You are thrown right into the story. There is no lead up, there is nothing. This is just like a preview snippet for the book that is coming at some point. So I'm giving it a 3.5. It is my least favorite thing I've read by Evita so far, because you are literally thrown in the middle of the story and it makes it very hard to decipher what is going on. It still wasn't bad. It just was not as good as I'm used to from Evita, so there's that. Now for my 4 stars, we have Flesh and Stone by Emily Hemingway. This might be a 4, I don't know, I cannot decide. This is one of those ones where I keep going back and forth, like is it a 4 star, is it a 5 for me? I don't know. This is a gargoyle romance. I talked about it in my mid-month, super delightful. Then we also have all my new ones that are in the 4-star category, which is No Getting Ogre You by Marie, no, it's her pen name. It's like ML Eliza, something like that. It's Marie Lipscomb. She's very open about this. I feel okay saying that. Writing her monster romances, and she also has a Santa Claus one coming out in November. So I really liked this until the end. The ending for me did not work. I did not like the ending, and that knocked it down. It would have been a 5-star. This had an interesting downstairs situation for our ogre. Overall, the plot was really good. This is also in my 24-hour vlog. She falls in a hole on the Appalachian Trail, and lo and behold, gets rescued by this ogre. They have some bomb sex, and we go from there. It's very cute, very fun, but not, the ending just was not it. It was not good for me at all. Then I have Fear and Other Love Languages by Avita Weiss. Again, that 24-hour vlog has this. And I will say that this was a really, really good monster anthology submission. I really enjoyed this. This is Nightmare. It was like If Your Nightmares Came Real. I will link down below to Avita Weiss's page with content warnings for this because there are quite a few going into this. But this is a really good, creepy, erotic horror with a happy ending. So highly recommend. I also read Forbidden Promises by Katie Robert, which I gave 4 stars. I am really enjoying this series for the most part. And this one had one of my least favorite tropes, and yet Katie still made me love it. This had a like pregnancy trope situation, and I don't love that, but it follows Sloane, who has moved away and is in hiding from the mafia situation and all the goings on with the O'Malley family and trying to get out. And she meets Jude. Yeah, so she meets Jude, who happens to also be from a family, and he's like trying to hunt someone down that took out his family, and we go from there. He's like the broody neighbor, and it's delightful. Again, as always, Katie managed to make me like a trope I don't normally like, so here we are. I also read Trick and Treat by Shay Sanders. These are great little Halloween novellas. Trick follows 2 characters we meet in a flick between friends, and they're like hookup / how they start dating, and it's very, very cute. Worked really, really well for me. And then Treat was about an already established couple. They have kids, they are not married, and he is not as adventurous as she is in the bedroom, and he surprises her on Halloween with a big, big treat, and it is so good. It was so, so good. Highly recommend both of these. If you haven't read them yet, I honestly don't think it's too late in the year to read them. Listen, they are worth your time. They are short, smutty, good times. Then I have Dial A for Aunties by Jessica Q. Sutano. This surprised me. Okay, so like the reviews on this on my friends list are so mixed. Everyone loved it or hated it. It's very weird. It is the most over the top book I've ever read. We follow a girl who works in her family's wedding planning business. Her mom sets her up on a date, and the guy gets pushy, and she ends up with him accidentally dead, maybe. And the aunts and her mom try to help her fix this problem, and then she runs into her ex-boyfriend, who she was like in love with in college. They were gonna get married, but like she couldn't move away, all this stuff, like this family curse. It is top level, like off the wall bonkers. I highly recommend the audiobook. I really, really liked listening to it. I was laughing multiple times. Like, murder and death are not funny, but just like they were just like kind of incompetent with some stuff, and it just was amusing to watch how it unfolded. So it's very, very funny. But again, this is one of those ones that is not going to be for everyone, and I totally get the people I know that like hated it, why they hated it, and I understand why I loved it. Like, I feel like this is one of those ones that you have to go in knowing this is rooted in absolutely no reality in any capacity, because it can't be. And yeah, it's just kind of a weird caper of a time, and there's a nice cute little ending with the romance, but it was just like over the top ridiculous, and we all know I love that, so it was a good time. Then we have The Devil's Bargain by Rhian Fox, which is, how do I talk about this book? This is a Men Loving Men MM romance. And this follows a guy who buys a spell book at an auction, and lo and behold, someone's a demon of some kind, and we go from there. There is implied impreg in this. There is tail play. It is weird in a really good way. Again, I read this for that 24-hour video, no surprise. I loved this a lot. I think this is a solid 4.5 for me. I wished it was a little longer to like fully play out the plotting, but just about everything about it was spectacular. So if you are looking for a good short weird romance, this has you covered. Then my 5 stars. So I read In the Bedroom of Medusa in the first half of the month. Absolutely love this. This is a sapphic Medusa romance. Top tier. Then I read Passion at Hell's Gates by Brianne Burnett. Yeah. Whose backlist Nicole over at Who Picked This Book has me really wanting to go deep dive, and I may at some point before the end of the year honestly go read a bunch of her books. This one is weird. So this girl is in college. She's looking for a job to help her afford to go to college the next year. And she goes to be a not housekeeper, like a hospice worker kind of thing. I don't know if it's quite hospice, but either way, she goes to help take care of this old lady and live in the house. And then she finds out that there's a gateway to hell in this house, and there are like demons at night that like try and touch you. And it just follows that adventure. And it was so bonkers, and it was everything I wanted out of one of these like devil romances I was finding. It was so good. I really loved this book. It was so fun. It was hilarious. I laughed out loud a couple times, and it was hot. Like, I was very happy with my reading time on this one. So I think if you're looking for that, this has you covered. Then I read The Witch's Wolves by Ellie Mae McGregor. I loved her Christmas book, The Naughty List, I think. So it's no surprise I also loved her Little Red Riding Hood situation. It follows a girl who's on the run from her village. She gets taken in by these two werewolves, but they're more wolf than man. And it follows her and them all falling in love in this like beautiful MMF romance. And I just really, really liked it. It was short, quick, to the point, hit all the things I wanted. I was very pleased. And on that wolf theme, we also have Lobizona by Romina Garber. This is a YA book that follows a girl who is Argentinian, and she's looking for her dad kind of, and she gets like sent off on the run to like go be safe because of some issues. And we get a lot of revelations at the end of that book. Holy crap, I can't tell you, like, I feel like I can't tell you anything about Lobizona without spoiling it, because it's one of those books that I'm like, so much happened, I don't know how to tell you what happened without being like, and that's what happened. But she's kind of looking for her dad and looking for these like people who are siding with her dad in this battle that's happening, this kind of civil war situation. And it does a lot of self-discovery and talk of like her figuring out who she is and what she actually is. So good. So good. I have a hold on the next book. I'm hoping it comes in soon. I also read Abducted by the Pumpkin King by Cassie Idle. This is one of those ones where an author like dropped a book under a pen name a few years ago. And this quite literally follows a girl who's on her way to a Halloween party. I think she was dressed as Little Red Riding Hood, gets kidnapped by the Pumpkin King. They have a amazing, incredible night. And then she goes on her merry way, and the next year she goes to find him and they fall in love. And it was, again, absolutely delightful, and I loved it. It's a very short, very good time. Then, okay, so the next two are like contenders for 6 stars. I don't know if I'll use 6 stars next year because I feel like I don't give them out enough. I don't know. I need to figure that out. But Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lark was one of my group picks for my Discord this month for my members. And y'all, I'm so glad we read this book. I'm so glad we read this book. If you told me that I was going to love a Kraken, and y'all watching maybe like, of course you were gonna love a Kraken. You like all the weird books. I just didn't think I would like this one as much as I did. I didn't know that it was going to hit all these things I wanted. And it has like a weird insta-love thing, and like he stalks her, but like he admits to it and she's okay with it. So that helps, but like it's a lot. It's very insta-love, and it was so freaking good. And I need to read more from Lillian Lark because she is very talented. I have not been reading the best with my eyeballs this year unless it is short books. So her ability to pull me through the story and make me not want to put it down is like way up here for me, God tier, you know? And I just loved this book so much. And I think that, you know, if you're interested, it's a good one to start with possibly. I think it's a lot, but I think it can work really well. So it follows our heroine who runs a bathhouse of sorts slash matchmaking company, and she thinks she has lost all of her powers and her ability to matchmake because of her thinking she found her soulmate. Turns out it's not her soulmate, and the Kraken, Gideon, sees her and is like, oh. And we don't really know what he is at first. And he like kind of lightly stalks her, trying to figure out who she is and why he feels this like need to be with her. And then he goes to her business and is like, I want to hook up with you. And she agrees to it because the bathhouse needs the energy it harvests from people boning. And it is just smoking hot, great mystery like plot situation to find out what was happening at the bathhouse, why they were losing. Something was happening there. So I was doing that, and Gideon was working on a case for a auction that was happening in the town. So we kind of had this nice mystery that like really unfolded beautifully as well in the storyline. I don't know, a lot packed in here for a very short book, and such a good time. Seriously loved it. Last we have Temptation by Nikki Sloan, which is the newest book in the Filthy Rich American series. I got an arc of this, no surprise, I loved it. I think my favorite part of this book was the build-up. So our hero Vance takes a bet that he will not have sex for 90 days. He can do oral on a woman or finger her, but he cannot receive pleasure from anyone for 90 days. And he meets Emery, our heroine, who is a safecracker and maybe not what she appears to be. And he is just like, oh, I like you a lot. And they end up fake dating, and they go to Monaco together. And there's like this beautiful slow build in this, but it's like super steamy and hot still, even with the slow build. And I love the way that was delivered in this book so much. I don't want to spoil too much of it otherwise, but yeah, I loved this. I absolutely loved our heroine. She was everything I love in a like a sassy heroine. And Angus is barking at me, so hold on. Okay, I have gotten Angus upstairs. We are back to finish this out. Whew. Anyways, so on Temptation, if you liked the other Filthy Rich American series books, you're gonna like this one. But yeah, I think Nikki did a slow burn really well for me because we still had a lot of like fun times before we had like insertion. So it was delightful. For me, that is a slow burn. Then we have the manga I read. I did not read a ton of manga this month. I do plan to read a lot in November. So we have Tokyo Ghoul Volume 4, which I gave 4 stars to. I really like this. I think it was a great continuation of the series and of the world, and I need to finish this series before the end of the year. But yeah, I'm having a blast with it, so I can't wait. Like, I literally cannot wait to finish this series. I also read Chainsaw Man. Where did it go? Volume 2, which I gave 3 stars to. I think I talked about this in my mid-month. It just wasn't as good as Volume 1. We didn't follow our same main character, Denji, as much. And then Volume 3 was a 3.5 because it was like slightly better, but still not great. So there's that. There's that. Next, I read 2 volumes of Oharu Ride, and I'm in the middle of Volume 10 and the library took it back because they're mean. They're so mean. But Volume 8 I gave 4 stars to, and I really liked where the story was going and where we were progressing. And then Volume 9 I gave 3 stars to because, yet again, the male love interest is driving me up a wall. So I'm really glad I didn't buy these, and I'm reading them digitally because I honestly don't know how he can redeem himself enough for me to like want to own this series, which is wild, honestly, very wild to me. But yeah, those are the 24 books I read this month. Let me know what your favorite book of October was. And if you don't want to do that, if you made it this far, leave me a fall emoji because we're definitely in the thick of fall now. It is actually like literally going to be under 30 degrees here, which is wild. And yeah, you can find links to all of these books I talked about in that description box, as well as links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and links if you want to join my memberships. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we